Hello students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of Mmpc-20 Business Ethics and Corporate Social Responsibility. In today's session, we will discuss about Block 2, evolution and concept of CSR. How this concept, corporate social responsibility, evolved or originated. And what is the meaning of ethics? And what role ethics play in business enterprises. So in today's session, we will discuss about evolution and concept of CRR and the role of CSR in global context and what strategy used by business enterprises for promoting corporate social responsibilities. So let us start from this topic, CSR, evolution of corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is a management. It's a management with human beings whereby companies integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operation and interaction with their stakeholders. You know that CSR is the corporate social responsibility, and this concept is very broader, and each and every corporate sector has to do some their duties or responsibilities for whole community for the welfare of the human beings. CSR is generally understood as being the way through which a company achieves a balance of economic, environmental, and social imperatives. It means triple bottom line approach. And what are these three concepts? These three concepts are related with economic. It means we can study CSR according to economic aspects and environmental aspect. This is the second main and major aspect of CSR. And third is social imperatives. These three aspects are known as triple bottom line approach, while at the same time addressing the expectations of shareholder and stakeholders. In this sense, it is important to draw a distinction between CSR, which can be a strategic business management concept, and charity, sponsorship, or philanthropy. It means what is the difference between CSR if it is a strategy of the business enterprises, it's a concept of strategic business management, and the difference between charity, sponsorship, and philanthropy. Even though the latter can also make a valuable contribution to poverty reduction, will directly enhance the reputation of a company and strengthen its brand, the concept of CSR goes beyond that. It means not only giving valuable contribution in poverty reduction and enhancing the company's reputation and strengthening its brand, the concept of CSR is very broader, and sometimes it goes beyond that because CSR includes so many things which is necessary for the welfare of the whole community. And generally, we include in CSR major three aspects like economic, social, and environmental. So, this is the introduction of CSR, which is a management concept where companies integrate its social and environmental concerns in their business operations and interaction with their stakeholders. Now, next is corporate social responsibility. What is the meaning of CSR? You know that CSR is a type of international private business self regulation that aims to contribute to societal goals of a philanthropic, activist, or charitable nature, or by engage in or support volunteering or ethically oriented practices. It means in CSR, we include all those aspects which are related with well-being of the human and whole society. So corporate social responsibility is a type of international private business self-regulation which mainly aim to work as a philanthropic. Philanthropic means when we do uh, some activities which is necessary for the well-being of the whole society, and with the help of charity and sponsorship, we do this thing that is called CSR, and some practices which is ethically oriented, that is also included in corporate social responsibility. Now, next is what are the main key issues of CSR? There are some key issues of CSR like environmental management, eco efficiency, responsible sourcing, stakeholder engagement, labor standards and working conditions, employee and community relations, social equity, gender balance, human rights, good governance, and anti corruption measures. These are the main key issues of CSR. It means CSR is a very wider and broader concept. It includes not only the welfare of the community or society, it includes so many other things also which is necessary for the development of whole society. It promotes that we should use and each and every business enterprises should use eco-friendly technologies so that environmental degradation or depletion can be controlled. And CSR issues are also related with working conditions. Labor should be provided good working conditions, healthy atmosphere for their work so that employee and community relation should improve and social equity should be maintained and there should be balance in male and female working uh, working atmosphere and side by side salaries also. There should be not any discrimination with their gender, and gender should there should be a gender balance. Human rights should be promoted and good governance must be exist in the economy for the development of the country, and anti-corruption measures also included in the key issues of CSR. A properly implemented CSR concept can bring a lot of change in variety of competitive advantages such as enhanced access to capital and markets, increased sales and profits, operational cost savings, improved productivity and quality of the product, efficient human resources base, improved brand image and reputation, enhanced customer loyalty, and better decision making for the business enterprises and risk management process. So, if CSR is properly implemented, then it will bring along a variety of change in a competitive business enterprises. And what type of change we can see? These changes are like if we adopt this policy, if CSR policies properly or efficiently implemented in each and every business enterprises, then their sales will also increase. When sales increase, their profit will also increase, their cost will be minimized and profit will be maximized, and there will be a harmonious relationship between employers and employees. Their brand image and loyalty will also increase, their reputation or goodwill will also increase, and it will also increase customer loyalty, better decision making, and risk management process. So CSR properly implementation is very necessary for improving all these standards of the business enterprises. Now next is the evolution of CSR concept. How this CSR concept evolved. Over the past 20 years, multinational companies, which are known as transnational companies, have made important change to their corporate social responsibility. There has been a marked shift from the past, where when CSR activities were unrelated to the company's core business and largely reactive, attempting to stem or prevent criticism rather than promote real development. Companies have begun approaching CSR in a more strategic way, recognizing that aligning these projects with their business model and goals can effectively improve a company's competitive advantage. It means this concept was evolved over the past 20 years when multinational uh, play very important role in all over the world. And most of the developing countries, MNCs, are running their business activities. You know that multinational corporations are giant and big size corporation, and they mainly interested to work in those countries uh, in which demand is larger and supply is less, because their main aim is to maximize their profit and minimize their cost. And they want to establish their companies in those countries uh, who are basically developing, not well developed, and who have some lack of resources like capital resources, technological resources, etc. But they have large manpower. For example, in India, there is a large and big human being or lots of population in our country, but there is a lack of capital formation, there is a lack of technological advancement. That's why multinational companies always interested to work in developing or their host countries, who invite these companies for starting their business enterprises in their countries for upliftment of the country and to provide employment opportunities to their unemployed population. But MNCs have some social responsibilities towards the host country's population. There has been a marked shift from the past in over the past 20 before the 1951 or 1991, before pre-reform post-reform period, CSR concept was not very broader, and it's not generally acceptable by all the companies. But after reform period, multinational companies uh, think about their responsibilities and they adopt this policy of CSR. And at present, most of the corporate sectors must have to do their social responsibility and must have to spend 2% of their profit income on the welfare of the whole society or human beings. The evolution of CSR. Good corporate citizen. If we are a good corporate citizenship, then we should invest our money in social development projects because it's a part of the business plan. And strategic community investment. Strategic community investment mainly tells us that strategic giving linked to business interest. It means company or corporate sector should invest their money uh, by making good strategy for whole community's upliftment. And philanthropy means passive donation to charities. And corporate profit is corporate sector's profit, and it's a pure self-interest. You know that profit is the main motive of all business enterprises. But beside this profit, they must have to do for whole society. They must have to play important role for the betterment of the whole country people or whole society. So evolution of CSR concept is based on these four things like good corporate citizenship, strategic community investment, philanthropy, and corporate profit. Next is history of corporate social responsibilities evolution and what is the meaning of sustainability. The evolution of responsibility and sustainability, this concept was firstly uh, came in light at the time of 1970s quality management, when the main thing was that each and every business enterprises should focus on their product quality so that customer needs must be satisfied. And when customer is paying good amount for their product, then company has also responsibility to provide good quality product to the customer. So 1970s quality management, in 1980s health and safety, and this was the social responsibility of the business enterprises. Early 1990s environmental management, this was the social responsibility of the business enterprises. Then after 1990s health, safety and environment all are included. Then early 2000s triple bottom line, it means all three aspects which is related with economic, environmental and social imperatives, all these are included in early 2000. And after 2000 sustainable development concept also included in business social responsibilities. And another, in 1970s, the another point of responsibility is that each and every companies should do their duties towards shareholders or stakeholders. And in 1980s this concept included philanthropy concept. Philanthropy means wellness and betterment of the whole society. If companies have less amount of money, then they can do they can collect money income by charity, by sponsorship or other donation and other forms, and use that money for needy people and for those person who are really need their help. And early 1990s corporate governance concept is also included in social responsibility. And late 1990s stakeholder engagement uh, is also included in corporate social responsibility. And in early 2000 corporate accountability also included, and late 2000s responsible competitiveness also included in CSR. So these are the main reason behind that the evolution of responsibility and sustainability. Sustainability concept was mainly established in 1980 1980s time period at Bretton Woods system, when uh, in Bretwood Land when Bretwood Land Commission tells that sustainable development should be exist, because without achieving this sustainable development, economic growth and economic development will not be sufficient, because sustainable development tells us that we should use and we should use all the available resources, either it may be renewable or non-renewable, in such a way so that our present generation needs and future generation needs both can be satisfied without any compromising the needs of the future generation. So this was the beginning of the concept of CSR. This concept was evaluated at the time of 1970s, and after that it includes so many other things which is necessary for the betterment of the whole society. In 1980s, health and safety included. In 1990s, environmental aspect also included, and in 2000, triple bottom line, economic, social, and environmental, all are included in CSR. With these concepts, shareholders, stakeholders engagement, philanthropy, and responsible competitiveness and corporate accountability also included in CSR concept. So this is the history of CSR concept. Now next is CSR hierarchy model, stakeholder model. The evolution of CSR in India has followed a chronological order of four thinking approaches. Though the stakeholder model came into existence during 1990s as a consequences of realization that with growing economic profits, businesses also have certain societal roles to fulfill. The model expects that companies must have to perform according to triple bottom line approach. And this triple bottom line approach includes environmental aspect, economic aspect, and societal aspects. The businesses are also focusing on accountability and transparency through several mechanisms. Now, in CSR hierarchy model include four thinking approaches. And what are these four thinking approaches? First approach is given by liberal model in 1970s to 1990s. Now, first of all, the ethical model was developed in 1930s to 1950. After that, statist model developed in 1950s to 1970s. Then liberal model developed by some thinkers in 1970s to 1990s. And stakeholder model developed during the time period of 1990s to at present or 1990s onwards. So these are the four thinking approaches related to the evolution of CSR in India, followed a chronological order, like first is 1930 to 50, second is 50 to 70, then is 70 to 90, and then 90 onwards. So in this, first model is ethical model, second is statist model, third is liberal model, and fourth is stakeholder model. Now, in this way, this concept came into line, and this is called stakeholder model, which is at present going on. Because at present, stakeholder model is going on because its time period is 1990s onwards or at present. Next is, what are the guidelines of CSR? CSR guidelines are, number one is its support for human rights for our employees and their communities. Generally, corporate social responsibility tells us that we should not uh, hamper, or we should not put any restrictions regarding human rights of the human beings. So we should support for human rights for our employees and their communities. Second is promote equal opportunities and fair treatment for all of our employees. It means there should be no bias, no discrimination exist in the business enterprises, and we should promote equal opportunities and fair treatment to each and everyone, and those specifically those who are working in business enterprises. Now, third is respect our employees' voluntary freedom of association. It means we should respect all our employees who are working in our business enterprises, and voluntary freedom of association should be promoted. Fourth is to pay salaries to our employees equally or according to their talent or according to their skill, pay salaries which enable employees to meet basic needs like food, clothes, shelter, education, health, sanitation. At present, these six things are included in our basic requirements or basic needs. Earlier it was only three: food, cloth, and shelter. But at present, our basic needs are six: food, cloth, shelter, education, health, and sanitation. So, employer should pay that amount to each employees so that each and every employee can fulfill their basic needs and improve their economic opportunities and improve their standard of living. Next, fifth point is provide a safe and healthy atmosphere at workplace and promote sustainable development. Next is to promote fair competition, not cutthroat competition. We should promote fair competition, healthy competition, and not offer or accept bribes or corruption. Corruption should be removed. And next is, it means transparency should be exist and corruption should be removed. Next is seventh point is work with government and communities to improve the quality of life. We should work under the guidelines of the government, and we should live with the whole community, and we should always try to improve their quality of life, their standard of living, and their betterment of their life. Next is promote these principles with our business partners. So these 8 points are included in CSR guidelines. These are CSR guidelines. Next is Carroll's pyramid of corporate social responsibility. Carroll's pyramid of CSR is perhaps the most well-known model of corporate social responsibility. It shows the different expectation society has of an organization at any given time and helps characterizes the nature of businesses responsibility to society. It means this is the pyramid of Carroll because Carroll presented this model of CSR. That's why its name is Carroll's pyramid of corporate social responsibility. And this is the well-known model of CSR. It shows the different expectations society has of an organization at any given time, and it helps to characterize the nature of business responsibilities to society. Number one is economic responsibility. Main first responsibility is economic responsibility. It means each and every business enterprises should pay to their employees at that amount so that they can fulfill their basic needs or basic requirements like food, clothes, shelter, education, health, sanitation. This is the economic responsibility. Economically, company should, if company is strong and company has good image or reputation, then company should also provide good pay scale to their employees without any exploitation, without any harming anyone's interest. The company should fair and company should give right remuneration to the right people so that each and every person can fulfill their basic needs or basic requirements. Second is legal responsibility. Legal responsibilities tells us that a company has a legal responsibility that a company should work under the guidelines of the legal rules and regulations and not go beyond that. A company should make a good qualitative product and provide it at reasonable price to the customers, and its main responsibility is to safe environment and control the depletion of environment. It's it is his legal responsibility that no one illegal product should be produced by company, and each and every contract should be valid, not void. Third is ethical responsibility. Ethical responsibility is generally tells us that what is the moral duties of the business enterprises. Our moral duties or company's moral responsibilities related to that the company should do always right thing, not wrong. Ethical responsibility tells us the difference between right and wrong, good and bad. So it's the company's social responsibility or ethical responsibility that company should work in a good way, not in a bad way. A company should do good things or right things instead of wrong things. And philanthropic responsibility means company should arrange some money from grant, donations, sponsorship, and by charity, and use that money uh, fairly for the well-being of the whole society and for those people who are really in need, those who are suffering from poverty and they are living below poverty line. They don't have enough food to eat, they don't have proper living conditions to live. So each and every company who are earning bulk profit, they must pay for the society and they must do good for the whole society. This tells us by philanthropic responsibility. So, what is good and desirable society? Good and desirable society is that society in which good governance and all the codes of good governance implemented and improving the quality of life of the country people and being good corporate citizens exist. That is desirable by society, and that is really very good thing for whole community. And what is right, just, fair, and expected? Avoiding harm, fostering good relations, harmonious relationship with stakeholders, following the laws and rules and regulations, and arising obligations. This is called right, just, fair, and expected. And what are the rules of the game? Obeying the laws and regulations as well as what society codifies as right and wrong, doing what is required by a stakeholder. If company is doing according to their stakeholders, company is following the rules and regulations of the law as well as the society who codifies that this is the right thing for whole community and without doing wrong, that is called the rule of the game. And how to be profitable? Fulfill a market need, provide investment, create jobs, pay taxes, uh, and transparency, no corruption, provide a foundation for other responsibilities. This is called a company will be in profitable condition if company is doing these duties very honestly and fulfilling their whole responsibilities towards the whole community. So how a company can be profitable if company is fulfilling a market need, if company is providing good investment to the business enterprises, and if company is offering or creating jobs for the unemployed people, and honestly a company is paying taxes to the government and provide a foundation of other responsibilities, then we can say that it will be a profitable company. So this is the Carroll's pyramid of corporate social responsibility, in which four responsibilities are included: economic responsibility, legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, and philanthropic responsibilities. Now, next is, what is responsibility or corporate social responsibility? You know that corporate social responsibility is divided into four phases and four uh, different thinkers given approaches according to their time period. Like Frederick provides expanded framework for understanding the evolution of CSR concept and divided into four phases: corporate social stewardship, 1950s to 60, then 60s to 70s, then 80s to 90s, and then 90s onward. So first is corporate social stewardship approach, 1950s to 60s, corporate social responsiveness, 1960s to 1970s, corporate business ethics, 1980s to 1990s, and corporate social responsibility on 1990 onwards and at present. So these are the four uh, phases of evolution of CSR. Next is number one, corporate social responsibility should do these four things like basic. First is limited awareness of sustainable development goals. SDG means Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals are near about 17, and these 17 goals are decided by UN for whole world. And if we achieve these 17 goals, then whole world will develop and whole world people will get benefited from these goals. So if there is a limited awareness of sustainable development goals, may align a few CSR initiative to global goals, may sponsor internal campaigns or annual events, initiatives typically funded through CSR funds, usually without a particular expectations of ROI. It means if company is, this is the basic thing, that first of all we must aware the sustainable development goals. And what are the sustainable development goals? Sustainable development goals are like poverty reduction, environmental protection, safe environment, uh, pure water, fresh food, and no hunger or zero hunger, and provide nutritious food, and provide housing facilities to each and everyone, no gender discrimination, social equity or equal opportunities must be provided to everyone, create jobs and more employment opportunities, do welfare of the whole society. So these are the sustainable development goals, and make equity or equal distribution among country people. So sustainable development goals are generally related with the well-being of the whole society, whole community, whole world people. And strategic CSR tells us that diligent mapping of all CSR and EHS, E means environment, H means health, and S means safety. These programs to the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals prioritized based on organization core competitiveness. Progress is tracked and reported through chosen indicator. And competitive leverage sustainable development goals framework to grow business and gain competitive advantages. Typical way of extending these competitiveness include extending products and services to the new market, developing more resilient supply chains, investing in global workforce, etc. And transformational means what the changes are coming. So develop new businesses to respond to challenges, opportunities outlined in the Sustainable Development Goals, actively engaged in diverse stakeholders like suppliers, partners, customers, government, NGOs, etc., to shape innovative operating models. So these are corporate social opportunities, majority uh, continuum. These are four basic strategic, competitive, and transformational. Next is the evolution of responsibility. You know that the evolution of responsibilities mainly occur in 1970s time period with the shareholder. Then in 1980s, this concept included philanthropy, means charity, donation, grants, and sponsorship also included. But this the money which is collected from all these things like charity, donation, grants, and sponsorship, it will be used only for the welfare of the country people, not in any other uh, things. And in 1990s, corporate governance also included in CSR, and late 1990s, stakeholders engagement included in CSR, and late 2000s, responsible competitiveness and healthy competitive environment must be exist. This concept also included in CSR. Next is strategic CSR. Now, what is strategic CSR? Business strategy, or what is the business strategy for corporate social responsibility? Corporate social responsibility strategy must fit two things. One is core business objectives. Next is core competencies. Number one is core business objectives. What are the main core business objectives? You know that each every business enterprises want to earn maximum profit, and how firm can earn maximum profit to increase their sales. According to Baumol was the great economist who does that if a company maximize its sale, then profit will automatically be maximized, because we should focus on sale maximization rather than profit maximization. But at present, some companies are mainly emphasizing their profit rather than sale. But we should emphasize mainly on sale. So core business objective is to increase sale, penetrate new markets or develop new markets, engage employees, reduce operating expenses, reduce cost, improve reputations and goodwill or image of the company or business enterprises, protect brand loyalty, and beat competitors. This is the core business objectives. And what are the core competencies? Competencies are like technology. We should use good technology, competent technology, which can produce more output at minimum cost. And financial product and services, making markets, natural food, and automobiles and transportation system, travel and tourism, All these are included in corporate social responsibility strategy. So, corporate social responsibility strategy must fit two things. One is core business objectives. First of all, you must have to know about what are the core business objective and what are the core competencies. So, if you know about this, then you can make the strategy for achieving these set targets. Next is our CSR strategy. Our CSR framework is divided into three themes. One is improve education. This is the Venn diagram. We can show our CSR strategy with the help of this Venn diagram. In first diagram, improve education and employment outcomes are taken. And in next, provide food and shelter for those who are in need. And third is advance health and well-being of the country people. And we should help, and all these three themes are based on helping communities prosperity. It means we should help to whole community for their well-being and for their prosperity and for their betterment of life. So CSR framework includes main three themes. One is companies should spend money for improving the education level and providing more employment opportunities to the country people, because if country people gets employment opportunities, they will earn income, they can satisfy their needs or requirements, then their living standard will also be rise, and this will increase the whole economic growth and development process, and in this way our country can develop. Second thing is to provide food and shelter those people who are in need, who don't have money to buy or afford food and shelter. Next is to provide good medical facilities and advance health and well-being of the country people, because you know that without good health we can't work better, and we can't work, if we will not work we will not earn, and if earning is nil, then how a person can make their better living standard. So all these things are interrelated with each other, and this is necessary for the well-being of the whole community. So CSR includes all these three things, which is necessary for helping the whole communities and to give prosperity and to give uh, money income or benefits to whole community. Now next is seven dimensions of strategic CSR. Now, what are the seven dimensions of strategic CSR? Aligning economic, social, and environmental benefits. These seven dimensions include: one is stakeholder. In stakeholder, identifying which stakeholder are critical to the firm achieving its goal and strategy, choosing CSR projects which addresses the needs and interest of the country people. Second is centrality. Centrality, this tells us that the action taken by the organization for the society and environment, will the action benefit the organization, society, and environment? Is it a priority in line which firm's mission and objective? So, in this way, centrality, which target you will keep in center, and you will mainly focus on that particular objective. Next is specificity. Specificity is the ability to capture firm specific benefits and not just non specific public benefits. Next is proactivity. Proactivity is the ability to propose CSR policies which anticipate environmental trends in non-crisis conditions or planned change. Next is voluntarism. Voluntarism is a discretionary decision making in absence of externally imposed compliance requirement. We want to attitude. Next is visibility, the ability to gain internal and external recognition for CSR initiatives is called visibility. Next is value creation. Value creation, the extent to which CSR programs create value for customers and all stakeholders. So these are seven dimensions of strategic CSR. One is stakeholder, second is centrality, third is specificity, fourth is proactivity, fifth is voluntarism, sixth is visibility, and seventh is value creation. Now next is seven dimensions to company CSR efforts. This is a socially and environmentally responsible organization. If an organization is responsible towards environment and towards whole society, then definitely a company should perform their duties towards whole community, towards customers, uh, community and society. This dimension mainly include that organization should play an active role in the community, and organization is should be fair, respectful, and honest with customers, and to provide good quality products to each and every consumers. Third is environment. This organization work to minimize the impact of its operation, products, services on the environment. So environment should be protected and environment should be safe. Next is suppliers relation. This organization makes purchasing decisions that take social and environmental values into consideration. Next is corporate governance. Corporate governance means this organization consider the long-term social, environmental, and economic impacts when it makes decision. Next is employee relation. Employees relation with employers should be harmonious, and all employees should be treated fairly, respectfully, and honestly in this organization. And human rights, we should not violate any human rights which is mentioned in our constitution. So this organization respectfully manage human rights in its operation. So these are the seven dimensions to company CSR efforts towards community and society, customer relationship, environment, suppliers relation, corporate governance, and employee relation, and human rights. Next is 63% of the companies have a formal CSR strategy. Companies with a formal corporate citizenship strategy has 63 companies are performing their formal corporate citizenship strategy, and 8% companies with a formal corporate citizenship strategy in progress, and 28% companies without a formal corporate citizenship strategy, and only 1% is related to others who are not in these three categories. But 60 major portion of the companies are following and doing their formal duties or they are fulfilling their formal social responsibility towards whole society. So larger proportion is 63%, in which a corporate sector performing their social responsibility formally, and 28% companies are following their social responsibility but without a formal structure, and 8% companies are with a formal corporate citizenship strategy. At present, it is in progress, and 1% like to other. Next is CSR in international business. What role CSR play in international business? And if we talk about CSR in global context, then this concept will take importance, that CSR in international business. One is supply chains. It become very complex due to the market globalization and often outsourced in countries where human rights protection law is less or there are no environmental regulations or tolerance of hard labor is high due to the absence of choices. This represents critical point for enterprises that have chosen to adopt a socially responsible conduct. The lack of ethical control becomes a commercial and financial risk. So supply chain tells us that it's a very complex due to that at present most of the countries are globalized and often outsourced in countries where human rights protection is low, where environmental regulations are very less and tolerance of hard labor is high due to the absence of choices. Next is justification for CSR. CSR in a global context, CSR is justified because it takes two broad sets. One is defensive. It means minimizing the potential bad effects of CSR on local community, environment, and the market when imposed through international supply chain and investment. And proactive, it increases the domestic public benefits of CSR practices in economic, social, and environmental terms. This is called triple bottom line. There is a various kinds of partnership initiative that seeks to transfer knowledge and expertise for investment. CSR in international businesses also affects the local economy and society. If business enterprises develop new products by means of local knowledge and skills, creation of viably durable forms of collaboration with the local partners, and corporate venturing investment in the local startup capital. This helps in improving the local economy and the whole society. Next is the CSR in international businesses. It will help to protect human rights and labor rights. CSR always demands be compliant. Operational conduct of the enterprises should not be lower the standard of the labor or should not violate the rights of the human beings. And be consistent means have partners of the same kind in adopting the same observance and recognitions of right. Next is the strategic context of CSR, CSR and globalization. You know that at present globalization is increasing. Increasingly, corporations operate in a global business environment. The internet, which drives this global environment, is a powerful enabling tools for communication and education. However, it also depersonalizes relations between individual and reduces our sense of an immediate community. This in turn affects a business sense of self-interest and can loosen the self-regulating incentive to maintain strong local ties and to maintain strong relations with whole community, not individual. Next is the global aspect CSR. You know that CSR concept is related with triple bottom line, corporate citizenship, philanthropy, business responsibility, corporate sustainability. All these concepts are included in CSR. That's why CSR is known as a broader concept. And World Business Council for Sustainable Development, according to this, mm, the continuing commitment for by business to contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the country people or workforce and their family members as well as the whole society and society at large is called corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility in global context, by the end of the 20th century, the doctrine or principle of corporate social responsibility had been widely accepted in industrialized nations. Recent debate over the duties of corporations in their international operations, you know that international law is weak in addressing the social impacts of businesses. And giant corporations like MNCs may not be subject to make strong laws and regulations in foreign countries. In adapting to global economic growth, corporations have used business strategies that distance them from direct accountability or social harms. More national regulations of multinational corporation is unlikely. Next is CSR and business ethics. Both are interrelated with each other. It is a responsibility for the corporate sector to whole community give benefits to its employees, all about the established ethical practices. Further, these policies could well be regarded as the foundation of trust in bringing the employees together. Ethical principles in business are not simply to control trade endeavors and personal acts, but they can easily contribute to lessen liability in the business. Next, ethics issues and CSR. Ethical issues remain specified to industries, business policies, working and management, community, locality, and country. Now, summary, we can say that business ethics and CSR are interrelated with each other. CSR is a very broader concept. It's not just about initiative, it's about stakeholders and an amount of being ethical. It requires responsibility on the part of business to understand and cater to the needs of the employees, consumers, suppliers, investors, and whole community. So it emanates from the very fact that consumers are solely dependent on the business for their needs. Business too depends on consumers and our stakeholders. Thank you.